Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playing podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I believe you can make the money and you can get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And today, I get to introduce y'all to two of my favorite working women. We got Alicia and Rachel in the building.
Hey, everybody.
Now, I've already given the season 2 disclaimer, okay? Don't come down to the studio if you just want to talk about business because I'm not here for it, y'all. We're not talking about business. We about to get in your business. Are y'all ready?
I like that.
You like that? You like that?
I like that.
Okay, so I am going to put some respect on y'all name. Don't be nervous. It's going to be juicy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But don't be nervous.
Okay.
A little
Okay.
spice.
Okay.
So give yourselves a proper introduction, okay? Catch us up. Rachel, you probably got a whole new introduction since the first time you were on Confessions of a Workaholic way back when. So give us an introduction. Who is Rachel today?
Hello, everyone. I am Rachel Hill, formerly Rachel Travels. So I ran a travel influencer brand for about 5 or 6 years. Right before the pandemic, I decided to slow it down. So right now, I actually still work in the travel and tourism industry, but on the marketing side. So still the same industry, but on the back end. And I just relocated back to Atlanta. So I'm excited about the opportunities when it comes to new friends, dating, which I'm sure we'll get into, and all the other good stuff.
Friends and men's. Okay.
Friends and men.
Yes.
I like them both. I am Alicia Reese. So happy to be back here with you. I'm loving the glow up of season 2.
Beautiful.
It is gorgeous. I am a transformation coach. I basically show high impact entrepreneurs, high level CEOs and executives, and then also emerging talent how to build lives that feel as good as they look.
I love it. Feel as good as it looks. Yes. Okay, so we're not here to talk about business, but my whole thing for season 2 is marriage, motherhood, mental health, mindset. We're going to talk about some dating and relationships today. But Rachel, I want to start with you because it just came into my mind. When we had our conversation on Confessions of a Workaholic, you were full force into entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And what stood out to me the most from that conversation is how you actually got into entrepreneurship because you wanted to get out of corporate America. It wasn't good for your health, right? And so I want to go back there and then kind of catch up to now because you've kind of, I know when we say it's a 360, that means you back to where you started.
Right,
So
180.
you did a 180, right? So I want to talk about what got you out of corporate America and then what kind of got you back in.
Yeah, and also maybe it's not a loop, but more of a spiral,
Okay.
right? Like we're spiraling up, right? It still turns. So I would say, working in corporate America back when I was in my 20s, it was good. All the things, made a lot of money, but the health, being a young black woman in a tech, back then, tech is popular now, but a decade ago, it wasn't a lot of black people, especially black women. So I decided to leave, did my whole Eat, Pray, Love situation, and then that turned into Rachel Travels, which, was a successful brand. It was amazing. It was fun. I traveled the world. But then, I got burnt out with the level of travel. And I think a lot of times people put, it does look sexy when you're traveling around the world, but when you start to get older, you start to value stability, you start to value consistency, all those things. And I was like, I got it out my system. I've traveled, I've met people, I've dated around the world, I've done all the things. Like I've gotten the check marks. So it just kind of got to a point where I just wanted me again. Like I just wanted, just the regular life stuff. I did all the fancy things. So I ended up going back into corporate. This job actually found me. So a lot of things, right? And it just allows me to, again, work in marketing, which is my field of expertise, and still in travel and tourism. So I was able to marry both, which was the only way that I would be able to go back to corporate is if I could have both the travel, the expertise, and the money.
Yes. So I just have to say the whole reason why I'm even getting away from the entrepreneurship conversation is because I feel like it's been such a heavy down your throat conversation for the last decade. And then a lot of us, very successful entrepreneurs, but then we get so far and we're like, well, wait a minute.
What was I doing?
What am I doing this for?
Exactly.
This is not necessarily what I thought I was building, what I thought I was creating. And I feel like you know, having a platform, knowing that I am, you know, God's vessel, I'm here to use my voice. I feel like I would be doing Black women specifically a disservice if I just glorify this whole entrepreneur life when I know that we want more than money.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
we're not willing to sacrifice ourselves, or we should not be as willing to sacrifice ourselves to look successful anymore. And so I wanted you to start there because I think it's just so important to be self-aware enough to know, even if I've built this thing, if I have built a prison for myself, is this really, you know, is this really worth it?
Yeah.
And y'all, Rachel is a real traveler. Let me also just say this, because Rachel and my husband went to high school together, okay?
And college.
Yep. And Rachel suggested that this man take me to Morocco one time, y'all.
Yes,
and when
Morocco.
I tell you, I'm not a traveler like Rachel, okay? I'm not. That's gonna be a conversation. Let me not do him like that because he gonna be bad.
I was gonna say, because it was with good intention.
It was with good intention, but baby, when I got out of that van, they had a wheelbarrow for our luggage. I am not lying to you. An actual wheelbarrow to take our luggage. And I said, you know what? Where did you just bring me to? Where did you bring me to? And only to find out that it was Rachel that had made the suggestion.
But
so Rachel,
was it memorable?
See?
Memorable.
Yes.
You didn't enjoy yourself
but
at all?
didn't it make y'all stronger?
It did, because we was in the middle. It was like,
Where in Morocco were
I thought
you?
I was being punked when the man pulled the
and that's
wheelbarrow
one of
out.
your favorites.
I
We were just
love
talking about
it,
how Morocco is one of her
yeah.
favorite countries.
It is not one of mine. And listen, to each its own, no shade to Morocco. I'm just not that girl.
Yeah.
But the point is, you were a for real traveler. Like, you were not out here, and I'm sure you enjoy both,
Yeah.
but you were very much so like immersed in the culture. Like, you were for real. You were serious. And so I can imagine the toll that takes when you're not just Ritz-Carlton, the 5-star resort type of thing.
Right.
You were really doing it for real. And so I love that you were self-aware enough to say, okay, it looks good, it's cute, but this is not, you know, this is not.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's not what I want forever to look like.
Yes.
Ooh, that's an amazing one. To know and be so self-aware and sure of the fact that this is not what you want forever to look like, and then to be willing to change that. I love that.
And to not care what people thought. Because even when I asked Rachel to come on the show, she was like, okay, but I'm not talking about business. Like, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, girl, we about to get in your business. She's like, okay, I'm there. So we're going to come back around to traveling and dating around the world, because I got to know what these men's are like, and I am a happily married woman, so I can't find out for myself. We're just going to learn from you. But Alicia, you're not afraid to like quit some shit, pivot, do all of the things as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like where you are right now in this season is the same, or have you had to shift some things?
Oh man, everything is different. Every single thing is different, from what I eat to where I'm willing to be in terms of energetically, what I'm willing to work on, the types of men I'm willing to date. Everything has changed.
Okay, well, since you brought up the dating and the men and the types, how do y'all feel about the high value man conversation? Ooh, that's how they feel. Okay.
And that was not planned. That was not planned.
Go for it.
I just feel as though anytime you have a conversation around high value and it's only centered around money, you have missed the most important pieces. Because if we only talk about your high value-ness in terms of how much money you're going to bring into my life, we have not discussed your emotional intelligence. We have not discussed your healing journey. We have not discussed your emotional maturity. We have not discussed how you fight and argue. We have not discussed whether you make me feel safe, whether you keep your word, whether you have integrity, whether you have character, whether you're good in bed, because baby, I am not willing to suffer myself some bad sex for the rest of my life. Like, we have not discussed anything else with that high value conversation. So to me, it's an impartial conversation. Okay, all you got is money. All right.
It's not enough.
And now what?
Rachel?
I would agree. And I think oftentimes it's, based on money, but what do you really value, right? Because, excuse me, I think a lot of times women talk about getting a man with money, but is he a generous man? Because just because you have a man with money,
it ain't
does not
mine.
mean
You could
that
be
he is
stingy
generous.
and
Listen,
selfish.
and it's nothing worse than a rich man who's
It's
selfish
stingy.
and
Yeah,
stingy.
that
I can't
is,
get
so
$50.
tacky. Yeah, you
It
got
is
to beg,
disgusting.
or you have to. So I think when we talk about high value, what do you value? Is he a gentleman? Will he show up for you? I mean, this is random, but I was thinking about the Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, Selena Gomez, and I'm like, that's her husband. He ain't said one thing. He hasn't posted anything about her. So I think the high value should as the women, what do you really value? I think
Absolutely.
we miss that part of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about money and what, if he can't do this, then I won't give up this. But what do you truly value?
I think too, if you think about like the hierarchy of needs, for so many women, their base level needs aren't taken care of, and so all they can think about and all they are consumed with is how are you going to make sure, yes, at a base level I survive. We haven't gotten into the next level of anything because that base level, exactly, like that love piece, like people really do forget, like beyond his money. Does he love you, and then does he like you? Because you can love people who you don't like. So that high value, miss me if all you talking about is money.
So if we're not just talking about money, but if he does have the money and he has the other things to come along with it, and he says, it's you, like you are the one I've been looking for, but this is the role that I want you to play. So that little business that you're doing, hang it up, we don't need it. Those little trips you want to go on, you come on these business trips with me. If you had to fit into a role with this high value man, that is your definition of high value, not the world's definition. He just got some money, some connections, whatever. He has character, he has the things. Could you shift who you are to fit into his mold?
No.
Am I a method actor?
I don't think so.
No, I really do. Am I a method actor? Am I being paid to perform? Or is this a partnership to where you want me to ensure that you're fulfilled, and then you also, because you love me and you like me, you want to make sure I'm fulfilled as well? If you're looking for a method actor, I know where we can hire someone for you, but I'm not an actress. I mean, I can, you know.
So you don't think you could ever genuinely get into that role and enjoy it? Be fulfilled by it?
I believe in absolutely supporting my partner. Hands down, I am a supportive partner. Even when I don't like you, in that moment, I'm still going to support you because you are my partner. And also, I am not willing to become something that works for you because it's what you want, because then I'm going to hate and resent myself later. And then I'm going to hate you after I'm done hating me, and nobody's going to be happy. I'm not going to want to lay down with you. I'm not going to want to be intimate with you. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about intimacy. I'm not going to want to do any of that because I feel like I would have given up who I am to make you happy. And that's not fair to either one of us.
And I would say he's not my high value man, because I wouldn't value someone who wants me to become an actress or to step out of who I authentically am to fit in this role just so he can take care of me. So I would probably say no.
Have either of you ever dated what the world would consider to be a high value man?
That's all I date.
Come on, that's all I date.
That's all I date.
Okay, so what is because
I got the quote high value. I've dated those, and I've also dated like actual high value men that I would consider high value. So which one are we talking about? That one or
the actual?
Okay.
So the real, for real, legit, not, he probably don't have an Instagram. That high value man, right? We know the type.
Yeah.
What type of woman did he want? Because I think, and you know, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels, a lot of these conversations, he kind of brought this whole high value man to the forefront. But I think a lot of the women who say they wanted the high value man, they think that they wanted the high value man, but they don't really know what that life is like.
Listen, what you don't understand is most high value men are busy. They are very, very busy. And if your love language is quality time, then understand, sis, you really don't want a high value man in terms of the world's definition of a high value man, because he's busy.
Right.
He may not be able to show up when you want him to because he's closing multi-million-dollar deals. He may not be able to bring you and do the little things that you want, like having dinner with you every night, because that's not his ministry. His focus is elsewhere. Right. So you've got to get super clear on what do I value. So if we're going to keep the high value, that's cool, but I think it should be subjective and defined by each person.
Right. Yeah, I have as well, and it wasn't that fun. It wasn't.
It's a lot of sacrifice.
It's a lot of sacrifice. And what did it for me, I obviously, you know, this was way back when, but I have always liked to work. I've been a business owner for, you know, a while now. I was proud of the things that I was doing. And my little shit wasn't nothing compared to what he had going on. And that to me was like, that's not going to work for me. Right. And so I think it's so important for all of the women out there, the single women who are seeking love or seeking to be found or whatever, to have a realistic expectation of what the partner that you desire is going to desire from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what are they going to require?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to make it work, or are you going after something that the world just told you you should aspire to have?
Yeah, because you also have to look a certain way too. Like usually high value men, they want trophies, and I'm not saying like a non-speaking trophy. I'm saying your nails usually need to be done all the time, your toes, your hair.
To keep up
you
with.
have to look a certain way most of the time. Like you aren't really, kind of like dating a man in politics. You literally have to understand that your front of the house can't know what's going on in your back of the house ever. So there is a certain level of decorum, of discretion that you have to have. And if you want to bust it wide open, you will not be able to do that anymore.
You sure cannot live your best life out here.
You can't live your best life. Only if you are in some remote part of the world where they're not focused on cell phones.
Social media.
Exactly. Like, there's a lot that comes with dating that type of a man. I know because I've dated them.
Yeah, and I say, to become his reciprocal, right? I've been watching these like videos on YouTube, but a lot of times, to your point, we want this type of man, but are you his reciprocal? Even, we're talking about looks, but even, are you financially responsible? Because if you have a high value man who has a lot of money, he probably manages his money well. Do you manage your money well? How much debt
are you a match to this man?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's, outside of looks, of course you want to maintain looks, but are you healthy, right? Like, they travel a lot, so you have to be, healthy at a certain level where you're able to rip and run and wake up early to work out, or be able to cut back on sugar, or whatever that
Make
looks
sure y'all
like.
have a chef in whatever place you're going, so that he can maintain too what
a
he's
whole project manager
supposed
out
to.
here.
You
I
are.
was gonna say,
You become a
are you
house manager.
productive? Yeah.
You become a house manager when you are dating those type of men. And if that's not your ministry, that's okay. It's someone's ministry, so allow them to flourish there, and then you go to wherever you need to be.
Find what works for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So another conversation that has become popular recently is the passport bros conversation, where these men, I don't know if it's only black men, but men
It's
are
not. It is
leaving
definitely not.
the States because American women are just all of these things. So I'm going to go to Brazil and find me a subservient woman who worships the ground that I walk on. Rachel, have you seen this? Like, have you seen this with your own eyes in some of these destinations that you've been to, where there are American men there looking for non-American wives?
Oh, absolutely. And I would say, I think it's becoming popular and trendy amongst black folks, but it's been happening for years, especially amongst our European cousins.
White people.
Yeah, white folks. I mean, they've been in Africa. I lived in Africa. They've been in Africa dating and marrying younger, and by younger, almost teenage level for years, and it's not shunned upon because of the economics in the country. So that's been going on for a long time. But have I seen an increase in black men going abroad and assuming that they're going to find the love of their life? I think yes, but I think what's not talked about is that probably 8 times out of 10 it doesn't land, right? Because yes, they may be looking for money, but to your point, they're looking for protection as well. If you're not able to speak the language, could you really protect me from, some local jokers, right? So I've seen it, but I don't think it's as successful as they're trying to make it seem.
And also, too, they're not necessarily looking for love. Like, a lot of my homeboys
it's like
who have
glorified
gone,
prostitution.
it's not it just is prostitution.
Right.
Like,
To your point.
it is actual prostitution.
Repackaged
Yeah.
prostitution.
Like, I have a homeboy who used to go to DR literally every other month because you can get 3
Get
women.
what you want. Yep.
And it's
You can
so
get 3 women
inexpensive.
for the
So
weekend
cheap.
for $500. They cook, they clean,
all the things.
do
they
the things.
engage in all. They engage, and I don't know if we acting crazy and raunchy in season 2, but they engage in all the things. They're willing to color and play and swallow popsicles as much
as you want for 500.
500 for the
too,
weekend.
I had an Uber driver who told me a whole story about how he got scammed over years, going to DR, married this woman, and he later found out she had a box of birth control pills. He wanted to have a baby with her, but she was on birth control. She was saving her money. She bought a condo back in DR, moved her real man into it, left her daughter with another lady until she was able to save up and go back. So I think a lot of that happens too. They think I'm gonna go and get this whole new
Set
family,
up my life.
but a lot of times it's it's survival of the fittest. So I think that's a part of the conversation that isn't often talked about as
And
well.
we see it on like 90 Day Fiance where
All the time.
I'm always like, girl, I bet you didn't know that you was about to move to Wyoming.
Yes,
You know, they be in
right.
these countries thinking they about to
And
move
Idaho.
to America. I'm going to be in New York or LA.
Miami.
And
No,
you
ma'am.
be in Oregon. I know they be mad because
Right.
that was not a part of your plan.
Right.
But see, here's the thing, though. I think what men fail to understand is they think because, oh, I'm going to go get a white girl, or I'm going to get a Spanish girl, or a girl from Indonesia. You think that because you're going to get a woman from a different ethnic group, she's not going to have the same requirements of the women that you're running from. Every woman all across the
Right.
globe,
Has same base level needs.
base level, they want to be protected and provided for. Period.
Facts.
Like all this conversation and the yin and the yang, as wealth, even the wealthy women, they still want to be protected and provided for.
Right.
Provided means something different. Provided may not mean financially, but there is still a level of provision that they want their man to give them.
Right.
So you thinking that, oh, because I'm going to Indonesia to get a chick, means that I'm not going to have to give as much, buddy, you're kidding yourself.
Have you noticed any other culture of men that you say, okay, when I'm ready to, you know, settle down and get married, I need a husband from this place because they treat women better? Have you had an experience where you're like, yo, in this country, they worship the ground that I walk on? Is there a place where black women can go and just point them out right there? It's you.
I had an amazing time in South Africa, to be honest. Actually, let me back up. Almost every place I've ever traveled, I've had a great experience. I think being in the States is where it's always sticky. And I think a huge part of that is, you know, you're different, right? But I think outside of America, black women are seen as goddesses and as queens. So oftentimes when I showed up to places, it was like, oh, wait a minute, you know, let us roll out the red carpet for you. Has that been your experience in a lot of places?
Listen, as much as I travel, yes, but also too, though, I think that's because of how we carry ourselves, because I have seen other black women not be treated the same. But I carry myself like I expect you to roll out the red carpet. I expect you to be kind to me. I expect you to treat me a certain way because that's just who I am in general.
Yeah.
So that's just my expectation. And when it don't happen, I be confused.
So I think you two, I mean, I know y'all in real life, and I know that you don't have a problem walking into a room like I belong here. I know you don't have a problem striking up a conversation. For the single women out there who can't fathom, even here in America, okay, in your own backyard, can't fathom going somewhere alone or having a conversation with someone, like them starting up the conversation, but you're single, so you got to talk to people, you got to leave the house. What piece of advice can you share for the woman out there that's like, oh my God, I'm trembling at the thought of it?
You want to go
Well,
first?
I would say take the idea off that I'm going to meet somebody to get married. I think a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves, so that introduces the anxiety and all the other things. Excuse me. I start looking at it as maybe I'll meet a new friend, a new resource.
Yeah.
Maybe that person will introduce me to, you know, my next level. So I think when you stop making it so serious, then dating becomes fun, because that's supposed to be the fun part, is the dating. Once you get married and in a serious relationship, that's where the decisions and the sacrifices come in. So I think just focusing on having fun, and maybe you don't want to travel abroad by yourself, I get it, right?
Yeah.
But you have to start practicing, maybe going to the coffee shop, maybe going to the library, maybe going to a concert or something that you actually enjoy. And I think that'll start helping you become more open, and also just practicing with other people, not just men, right? Because I think at the end of the day, men are just people too, right? So,
Absolutely.
just start practicing little by little, and I think you become more confident.
Yeah, and I feel too, you have to get super clear on like what phase of life am I in? Like, am I feeling good about myself? Because I don't suggest women go out and date when they're not feeling good about themselves, because however you feel, whatever energy you are feeling on the inside, you're going to emit that on the outside, and you will attract that. And we don't want to do that. So for me, for women who are afraid, get super clear on what type of man you want. Like, I date well, period. Like, that's it. I only date well. So because of that, I like to go to places where I know my type of men will be. No disrespect to those who, you know, are okay with struggle love and who are cool with, you know, starting from the bottom, now they're wherever they're at. That's cool.
Right.
That's not my ministry. It's not. That's not my ministry. And so because of that, I go to places like, I will figure out what major conferences are coming into town. And I don't have to go to the conference.
Major key alert.
Listen, what conferences are coming into town, and I will go to the let out, to the bar, because I know they're leaving the conference and they want to.
Let out.
The let out, not the club let out, because I know that's where you found your husband, but for me, the club just be a lot. It'd be a lot. So
you can volunteer at the conferences. That way
become
you can
a
see
chair.
who's there.
Exactly.
And who got what,
Exactly.
Be strategic.
It is so many ways. If you have a luxury vehicle, be okay. But when you go to the dealership to get your brakes done, because I need my brakes done, y'all. When you go, don't look like a bum. You don't have to be super dressed up, because that's extra. But wear some nice sneakers, a cute little sweat outfit. Like, position yourself, and then be open, be kind. If you know you a mean woman, go lay on somebody's therapeutic chair so you can start working through a lot of those issues that you have, and be willing to just say hi and smile. And I'm not saying that, oh, why you ain't smiling? Not that, but it can be an internal smile where you feel so good about yourself. You're in such a good place. Even when I don't have on a smile, I still look like I'm open, because I am.
You are, and she turns this into money, okay? Not with men,
No.
but professionally.
Yes.
Baby girl gets paid just by being pleasant.
Yes.
That's really what it comes down to. It's just being pleasant. And to your point, Rachel, we even had this conversation because, again, Rachel went to school with my husband. And after our first date, I was literally texting you, and then we went and hung out after that date, and you were like, so are you gonna go out with him again? And I'm like, girl, I'm just dating.
Yes.
I was not
Release
so
the pressure.
pressed to be like, this has to be my husband, but I knew I liked him. I knew I wanted to see him again, but I wasn't like, he has to call me today. Or, just so pressed and so thirsty. I was pleasant, but I was also just open. Yeah, I was just open and having fun.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that was totally different from, me trying to make you
Force
my
it.
husband or have these interview questions and you got to get them right, or I never want to see you again. That's too much pressure.
Yeah, that is unrealistic.
It is.
But also, too, I won't say many, because that's a generalization. For some women, they don't know how to have fun with themselves.
Yes.
Facts.
Like, when I tell you, I fuck with me heavy.
Right.
I find great joy. I take myself on some of the best dates. I took myself on a date last Saturday. Yes, I can easily call a man and take me on a date, but there has to come a point in time where we tell ourselves, if I don't enjoy spending time with me, why would he?
Right.
So no, I take myself on dates. I take myself on adventures. I go on dates with my girlfriends and go on adventures with my girlfriends for two reasons. Number one, I need it to be clear on what the expectation is. I want to level set. So you see how I treat me, so you know you're going to have
Don't
to
come in here with no bullshit.
you got to be this tall to ride this ride.
Right.
Number one. And number two, I want it to be that I am a good energy to be around, because who the hell want to marry hell or want to be in a house where it's so heavy because I don't know who I am. I don't enjoy my own company. I'm stuck to him like Velcro, and he like, bitch, I just want to breathe.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
It is.
You don't enjoy your own company, so you have to be up under
Yeah.
me. And the man be like, girl, get out of here. Except for my man, because we both enjoy quality time.
And that's
our love
okay.
language.
And
you got to
that's
know
okay.
that. Self-awareness, though, is key.
Yes.
Self-awareness is key. So you talked about the fact that you're not willing to settle for bad sex. So I just want to move into the sex conversation really quick, because
There you go.
question for both of you. If you met, I'm just going to go with high value because,
Right. That's the key word.
this is
Yes.
YouTube, and y'all go, somehow y'all gonna find this video because I done said high value 27,000 times. But you find this man, whatever you want, you
Yeah.
find him,
Yeah.
and he is a virgin,
Huh?
and he plans on staying in that state until you have married.
That's beautiful.
Are you willing to take this adventure, take this chance? Why or why not?
I'm going to say yes, because everyone is teachable.
Okay.
Hopefully.
I feel like you could teach somebody, especially if they're a virgin. That's a blank slate, babe. Like,
Ooh.
You're not down for the challenge?
That's not my preference, obviously. I feel at this big age, but I mean, I could work with a blank slate.
Okay.
So no questions ever make me nervous, but that one is a little. Ooh.
Never thought about that one. Huh?
No. I thought about someone who's maybe abstinent or, something like that, but a virgin. That does scare me a little bit because I am experienced, and I'm just unsure as to what type of human I would get after an experience with me.
But he's your husband at that point.
Yeah,
I
you
know.
have a lifetime of creating new experiences.
I know, and I'd have to pray on that one. I'd really have to I'd have to pray on that one. I'm not going to say no because I feel like that's a little harsh, but I'd have to think about that one. I'm not sure if I could take marrying a virgin man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly not a preference, but
Not a preference, but you might give it a whirl. So on the other
How
side,
long we got to be engaged? Like how long do we have to?
6 months. You can go 6 months.
Of
Everything
course.
is clicking. This is like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
this is it. God, I prayed about it. It's him.
No, I've gone a year plus without sex. That's not my issue. The waiting for sex is not the issue.
It's what kind of sex am I gonna get?
Yes, because I let go of a man who was, I so enjoyed him. Oh gosh, I enjoyed him so, and his sex was so bad.
So let's
I had
talk
to
about
let
it.
him go.
I told my husband I was gonna try to stay off the sex talk, but here we are. We landed in the sex
My
conversation. I am not a super sexual person. Like, oh my God, if you can't do this, if you ain't doing it, I'm not that.
Okay.
I don't know that a man's sex can be so bad that I'm just never gonna talk to you again. However, if you, how can I say this? What do they call it? A shrimp? What do they? What's the
Micro?
Yeah, like if you have
A micro,
then
yeah.
maybe I won't ever talk to you again. That's me. What is it for you? What makes sex bad for you? That made you never talk to that man again?
yeah.
Have you ever been to a construction site?
I have to
I've
go.
seen.
And you've seen the man on the jackhammer going like this.
Yikes.
Okay, I could see that. Okay.
For some strange reason, men think that if you're squealing and screaming, that it means that you're enjoying yourself.
It does not.
Sir, you are violently attacking my cervix, and it is closing up like this for fear that you are going to demolish it. That does not feel good. But for most men, they learn how to have sex from porn. And porn have the women on there smiling through the excruciating pain of somebody jackhammering them. That does not feel good. And if I've told you multiple times that this is not it, and you are committed to doing it this way, I'm going to release you to find the women who are good at
want
playing
that.
pretend that feels good for them. And maybe there are women who that feels great for them.
Yeah.
But if I've expressed to you that this is not it, and you continue to do this, and you have a high sex drive, pick somebody else to do it, because I will not.
Okay, I can see that being a problem. What about you, Rachel? What you got?
I am fortunate enough to have pretty good experiences, and I also am very self-aware of what I like, what I need, and I'm very vocal about all of
Are
those
you?
things. Oh my goodness.
You should
I have
be.
no problem speaking up for myself. at all.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
And I do it in a sexy way too, but I absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
we're supposed to speak up. The day of women just laying there like they're enjoying something and
And
they
a
are not.
starfish, no way.
No more pillow princesses.
Wow.
You can very
I
sexually
mean, I don't
tell
mind having
someone.
these conversations with my husband, but before my husband, like, no,
Absolutely.
I'm not. Oh my God, wow.
If
yeah.
I'm inviting you to explore this part of me, then I want to enjoy it with you.
Right.
And I'm not going to enjoy it if you're doing all the things I dislike. So there's a way to tell a man he's not doing it right. Don't just stop.
Yeah.
Relax,
Get off
sis.
of me.
You finna get knocked out.
Right.
Relax. But it can be hey, babe, you just grab his face, pull him close to you, kiss his lips. Hey, babe, I really like it when you touch here.
Right.
Or I really love it
Slow down.
if you would do
Speed
this. Yeah. Like, there's a way to do it.
Y'all
You don't
are out
have
here
to.
coaching these niggas. Okay.
Absolutely.
It needs to be mutually beneficial. So, and I would say as women, to the point of being by yourself, when you're by yourself, explore yourself in every
Yeah.
facet, whether that is, sexually pleasing yourself, whether it's your sensuality,
Yes.
your mental health, all those things. Like, you need to understand yourself
Absolutely.
in every aspect.
Absolutely.
So, as a single woman out here dating in these streets, do you believe there is a such thing as having sex too soon?
Yes.
And what is that too soon for you? Y'all are like, what you gonna say? What you gonna say?
So for me, yes and no. Yes and no. My first husband, we had sex on the first date. and we saw how terribly that turned out. So for me now, I prefer to, wait a little bit. I want to know, like, what's your character like before I bring your energy into mine, because sex for me is no longer just sex. For me, there's something that means a little bit more. We're merging spirits and energies and soul. I'm not just throwing coochie out to
whoever catches it.
Yeah, that's not my ministry. So for me, no, I don't anymore believe that sex is just sex. I do believe that there is value in figuring out who you are opening your legs and honestly life to, because everybody you sleep with has the potential to be the father or the mother of your child. So for me, I feel like it's okay to wait a little bit.
What's a little bit?
For me, it's about vibes, energy, what I want to do with you, where I'm at currently. Because if I just want to, have fun in this season, then okay, the vibe is literally, can you hold a conversation? Do I like hanging out with you? Can we travel together and explore together? I ain't thinking about building nothing. But because of the season I'm in now, I'm looking for lifetime partnership, or I'm exploring lifetime partnership with another human. Can we create a legacy that we're both proud of? Am I able to like you and love you through the parts of yourself that aren't as pretty? Are you able to do the same? So for me, it just depends on what that energetically looks and feels like.
So you're going with the vibe. It's not, you don't have a rule.
No, I don't have a timeline rule. Like,
okay.
No, this ain't a business meeting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I also don't have a timeline, but I do think it's important to make sure these men are invested in you.
Absolutely.
And not financially, but emotionally, right? So to your point of getting to know you, and should something happen, would I be okay with him being the father of my child? Which is a huge thing I'm always asking. Do I have enough information to even assess that? So I think I agree with almost everything that you said about just, it's about vibes, but again, where are you? If you are intentional about getting married, and I think too, what we don't talk about with women, when we have sex too soon, that switch goes off in our brains. So
literally,
the logic turns off and the emotional part comes on.
Yeah.
So I think when we have sex too soon, we miss all of the red flags. We miss a lot of areas that we should have been more vigilant in, because the switch has gone off, where the man is just like, she cool, she a vibe,
Yeah.
So I think there is a point of too soon, because we don't give ourselves the time to really understand him and let the switch go off naturally.
Yeah.
Or even ask questions.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing. Women don't ask enough questions, and the
Or the
questions
right
you
questions.
ask be dumb.
Because we
What's
don't
your
want the
favorite
answers.
color?
Right.
We don't want
Right.
the real
Not
answers.
the real answers.
Yeah, not the
Right.
real answers. There's a guy that was going viral on social media, and I think he had like 7 baby mamas.
Oh,
You know the guy? He had like
Yeah.
7 baby mamas. He don't want to see any of the kids. He tried.
Yeah.
He didn't want any of the kids.
Yeah, and he told them
is
that.
very vocal about
Yeah.
not seeing them, not meeting them, not taking care of them.
Not giving a dime.
Not giving a dime. Not giving a damn. Okay, very
Not a
vocal.
dime or a damn.
Not a dime or a damn.
Damn or a damn.
But he also said, I told them. I was
Yeah.
upfront. I
Yeah.
told them.
This is
and
fine.
he mentioned one of them, when they called to tell him they were pregnant or whatever, he said back to her, "What's my last name?" And I said, "Ooh."
Oh.
Drop the mic. Because
I
is
missed
he
that
wrong?
Oh.
This is my thing. If he's up front and he's telling you, I don't want anything serious, I don't really care about you, I definitely don't care enough about you to have a kid with you, and then you tell me you're pregnant and I say, no ma'am, no thank you. If he's up front from day one, not he's pretending, he's making you feel like y'all gonna be something, like he's up front, this is only sex, this is all I want from day one, and you still decide to move forward and you have not found out this man's last name, who's wrong at the end of the day?
Okay, so number one, you are both wrong. I am not.
I agree. I
I'm
agree.
not a proponent of absolving men from responsibility
agree,
because
but
he
it's
told
two-way
you.
street.
And also, there is a really great responsibility in having a womb and having ovaries and being able to usher souls into this dimension. There is an incredible responsibility with that. And as women, at some point, we have to get to the place and space to where we say, this person is not a good human. Yeah, God love all his children, but this person is not a good human. I maybe should not lay down with this dog because I can get up with fleas, a flea that multiplies into another human that I am now fully responsible for. I was married to my ex-husband, and I am still fully responsible for our child. Fully responsible. He decides decided that he was not going to put in as much as I put in the raising of her, and I had to still deal with that, with him being my husband. So if you laying down with somebody who says, yo, this is just sex, first of all, why does he have access to the innermost parts of you?
Right.
No man
That
who tells me
easily.
this is just sex.
Whatever.
this
Even
day.
talk
They were bust downs, or I think he said in the video, like, they was just bust downs. So imagine you as the child watching a video of your
father saying,
calling
I
your
never
mama.
want to meet you. He
Right.
literally has gone that, like, I never.
Right.
But
And your mama was a bust
yes,
down.
y'all are both wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
But have some type of,
The accountability is on the woman.
please.
You're both
Yes.
wrong, but the onus is on the woman because you have to carry that child.
Yes.
You have to nurture that child if you decide to bring that child earthside, and you have to financially, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually provide for that child.
And if you don't know this man's last name, good luck trying to catch
Why?
up
Why
with
would
him.
you?
Why?
Yeah.
And you
You
letting
the
a
one
man
to go
whose
through
last
all
name
of
you
that.
don't know nut inside of you, ma'am, he's shooting up the club, and you can't tell me this man's blood type?
And he went on to say that a woman or none of these women ever asked him to wear a condom. It was never even a conversation. And that
Wow.
to me is where it turns into, okay, sis, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's why
You
I said
don't
the
know his last
accountability.
name. He couldn't have been that charming.
Right.
Could not have been.
Not that cute.
He's
Not,
not
he
that
ain't
cute.
that cute.
Let's
He's
be
not that
honest.
cute. And now
Maybe
you're
they was
literally like
lonely.
carrying his legacy. This guy.
Whole legacy.
So at
This
some
one.
point, you got to take some ownership and accountability.
Yeah, they're
of
both
this.
wrong, but the accountability and the onus is on the woman because we got to carry these babies.
We have to carry these babies. So as we are getting older, we've had a conversation about, having children, the ghetto-ness of motherhood. We did that on the last episode. We ain't got to do it now. But as you get older, you have these goals. You want to settle down. You want to have kids. You want to do whatever you want to do. And the black men are not necessarily stepping up to the plate yet. Are you willing to consider a non-black man for the job?
Well, let me say this. My mentor actually had to bring this to my attention. When we say black men, we're only really talking about black men in America.
Yeah.
When you think about the
Yeah.
diaspora, you got black men across the world. I mean,
Doing-
I've lived all across. I lived in Africa. You could look at Brazil. You can look at almost every country on this planet. There is
There's
a
black men.
population of black men. So I don't think it's necessarily black men. Perhaps the ones here need a little bit of adjustment, but I just know living in South Africa, the black men treated me way different than the black men treat me here in the States. And not that I get treated bad in the States, but I could tell there is a different, frequency, and they actually honor marriage, and they are seeking a wife, and they're seeking partnership, and they want to have children, and they want to have it in a family unit and be close to family and friends. So you could tell the values are different to me than some of the men that I've met here. So I think if black men are what you want, there are other places you can look, sis. All I'm saying.
Are black men what you want?
That's absolutely what I
Okay.
want and prefer, but I'm not going to. For the longest time, I'm like, I want a black man, but having traveled around the world, again, there's different flavors of black. There's just different flavors of everything. So I'm just open to what aligns with my values, what's going to treat me the best, what's the best deal I can get. And I also think traveling the world showed me what's available to me. I think if you are stuck in your same city and you just dating, whatever's in proximity, no shade, everyone doesn't have the access.
Yeah.
But if you have the opportunity to travel and to date different types of men, you can see what's available, and then you can raise your standards, because like, this man did this, I didn't even ask. He didn't know my last name, and he paid for whatever, or he offered this. So why would I settle for Pookie, who I gotta beg, to do something for me, when there are men out here who will just do it because they see
That's
you
what they
need
do.
it.
Yeah,
So-
they're excited about it.
Exactly, and they want to, and it's a privilege and an honor. So
Yeah.
when you see that, it's like, oh, my standard's a little different. I don't have to take this. So, and
Yeah.
then with that, you start attracting the type of men who will also do those things no matter where you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For me, so I've dated white men before. No shade, no nothing. My preference is black men.
Yeah.
I love them. I think they are some of the most amazing, strong, courageous, dynamic, brilliant humans. Like I said, I only date well. I'd have been through enough hell that I know how to choose them now.
Right.
So I only date well. And I, too, especially when you travel, the energy is just different than, American black men. There are some conversations that you just never even have to have. I don't have to have a conversation with a black man overseas about who's going to take care of the household.
Right.
They understand
or
that that's
pay
their
for dinners.
responsibility.
No
Yeah,
50-50.
I wish I would
That's
not.
an American thing?
Yeah.
For some men, I've never. I've never. But yes, there are women who are like, oh, well, we went 50-50. And I'm like, why is that? It'll never be 50-50, ever, not in reality. But no, I mean, for me, I like dating black men. It's my thing.
Yeah.
It's your jam. That's a very good point that you brought up, though, Rachel, because I do hear the conversations of women who are, they're 30 plus and they're like, okay, I done tried to give black men a chance, but y'all ain't acting right, so let me just go on across the block. But the fact that we are probably forgetting about black men globally.
Yeah.
Like, go on down to Africa and get you. I got a homegirl that went right over to Africa.
You don't
and
even
got
have to
her
go to
husband
just
and came on
Africa.
back.
You can go to Paris. I know black
Yes.
girlfriends who met their black men in Paris, dating. One of them, she married her man who she met in Europe. Like, you can go anywhere. I promise we're everywhere. But you have to be open. And if you
Get a
keep
passport
saying,
stamp.
just get you a little passport.
Sisses.
Maybe
Passport,
not.
not sisses. Okay. Passport homegirls. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it.
We'll
But
think about it.
we're gonna work on it. But
We'll work on it.
don't let the passport bros leave you behind. Okay,
Yeah.
sis. Get you a passport stamp. Now these young girls. Don't be offended by this question, and y'all don't log off. Okay. These young girls, they're doing it a little different these days. We know that. How can I ask this question? Sexual orientation has become a major topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was an episode of Insecure. I'm gonna just take it there. There was an episode of
let's get into
Insecure
it.
where Molly was dating a guy, and they got drunk one night. They started talking about, well, I've done this. Have you done that? They're playing a game of like truth and dare, and he brought up the fact that he had previously in college had an experience with another man. He was curious, wanted to see how it went. And Molly just could not get over it. In her head, instantly gay.
Right.
Yeah.
In my head, instantly gay. These new young girls, that's not how they think.
Right.
Nobody's wrong. I think it's just generational.
Yes.
I want to know from you all, would you date a man who has had an experience with a man? Is that a deal breaker for you?
I have, but
Ooh.
he told me while we were
After.
dating. So, and you know what? To be honest, it took me some time to. I mean, we didn't stay dating very long, but it did take me time to really unpack. Why do I feel away? Especially if women experiment all the time. So I know men experiment all the time. It's just so taboo for them to say it. And I mean, to be honest, I'm still working through it. So it wasn't something I got over. But, I had to talk to one of my friends who's a gay black man and, talk to him about, like, why does this make me feel away? So we, like I said, we unpacked it. And I don't think that this guy is gay per se, but he had an experience. But then again, in the back of my mind, I'm like, because he's had an experience, did he enjoy it? Does that mean that if, it don't work out or we get in an argument, will he dibble dabble? So, that was still in the back of my head. So, yeah, it was a lot to work through.
But you worked through it.
I worked through it.
Were you surprised when he told you?
I'm never surprised. Nothing really surprises me.
But I do like that you had created a space safe enough that he felt like he could tell you the truth.
Yeah.
There's real value in that.
Yeah, and we dated maybe for like a month or two after that. Because I didn't want to be like, you're gay, like, But it did take me some time to be like, okay, wow, this was an experience. And to your point, like, I'm glad that you felt safe enough to express it. But yeah, and I told him, I had a very open conversation about why it felt sticky for me. And he was like, yeah, I understand that. That's why I was nervous about telling you, but,
Yeah.
So I don't know, y'all. Not my preference, but it definitely had to work through it for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I've been with women. So I feel like it is unfair and highly hypocritical of me to say, like, the men that I date, if they have had an experience with a man, that it is a hell no, we won't go. And also, I'm unsure if I can process that in a way that would yield, I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible.
I see it in you.
That would yield the results that I know I'd be comfortable with long term. I'm not sure if that's something that I'd be okay with long term.
Yeah.
But
If we're
short
having
term,
fun.
you're cool with it.
It's not my preference.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's not my preference. Again, do what you want to do, be who you want to be. Again, too, because like I said, I've been with women before, and I'm super open about that with any man that I date. Now, do I want to marry a woman? No. But women are just more sensitive. They're more, the intimacy level with a woman versus a man is beyond.
So does it make a difference if he's dated a man versus had an experience?
Absolutely.
With
Huge difference. Dated is a no.
That's a strong no for
That's
me.
a strong
okay,
no.
wait a minute then.
A strong
Why?
no.
So if he has sex with one, it's cool. But if
we
he
didn't
called
say
one
that.
his man, you
We
said
didn't say that.
Wait, so what are we
That's
talking
experience.
about?
It's
What are we
experience
talking
is
about?
a spectrum.
It's a spectrum.
What
Just like
spectrum were y'all
sexuality is a
referencing?
spectrum.
What is the spectrum that y'all are referencing here? What's an acceptable
So,
experience?
Here's the thing. You know how I said the thing about
I don't wanna put the
dating
boy
a
business
virgin? How for me, because I've had certain experiences, me dating a virgin would be a challenge because there are just some things you're not going to be able to do, and it may take you a very, very long time to be able to get to that point. Same thing once a person has had a certain experience, I can't unknow that. Because I've been with women, I can't unknow what it feels like to be with a woman and how different of an experience, and sometimes how much better of an experience it is being with a woman versus a man. That's the same thing with a man who has been with a man. The male G-spot is in his anus.
Right.
So if he has been...
What did y'all think I was asking y'all then? I'm very confused. What's the
Well,
experience that's
well,
okay?
I don't want to put his business out,
Well,
but
we don't
it
know
wasn't
him. You
a
ain't say his
full.
name.
From my understanding, they didn't go full blown, all top bottom. They just
was playing around a
doing
little bit.
all of that, which still was. That's why I was like, I get it, but I
Woo,
don't know.
I'm starting to sweat.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
I mean, I feel like...
that was like a memory unlocked. Like, oh, I forgot about that.
I feel like everybody should be able to choose and explore however they want to.
Agreed.
And also, people get to decide what works for them.
And
yes.
there's so many women. Like I have friends who like are open, like bisexual men. In fact, they think that having sex with bisexual men is better than heterosexual men because
Who are these people? Send them down to the show because I have questions.
There's a lot of women who prefer bisexual men.
Yes, you just got to find your tribe.
Exactly. So
Rachel
you
and I
gotta
just might
find-
not be your tribe.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
have friends
okay.
who are like, it's actually better because they have the emotional piece. And then they also, they kind of have integrated their masculine and feminine energies when it comes to being in the bedroom.
And I can understand that because, like I said, being with a woman is definitely
on the flow, girl.
Yeah.
I'm on the flow over here.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
So I should have asked the question differently because when I said sex, y'all said hell no. But when I said experience, y'all were like, yeah, why? What's wrong with it? Okay. Interesting.
that.
We didn't say
I need to rewrite the question. Okay. All right. Are there any deal breakers, non-negotiables?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Name one.
A major one, no disrespect to anyone, but I don't do violent offenders. Because
Girl, you can be disrespectful in that situation.
Well,
What?
Because
no,
they don't have no
because-
passport.
Hello.
not
Like
no passport.
felons and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, like
But
violent offenders. Because to me, you can be a felon and you could have drug charges, and I just don't believe that the way America has done black folks and drugs has been fair. So that I can get over. Mm-hmm.
But violence, it's a hell no.
Violence is a hell
For
no. I'm traumatized and triggered. No. Violence is a hell no, we won't go. Touching children or old people or people who can't consent, hell no, we won't go. Being just disrespectful just because you can to people who can't do anything for you. Like I like to watch how men treat waiters and treat doormen and treat assistants. I like to watch to see how they are, and I make sure they don't think I'm watching, because I want to see how are you to people who can't give you anything.
Who you think are less
Beneath
than
you
or
or less
beneath
than.
you.
Mhm. Yeah.
What's your deal breakers?
I was debating, should I say this?
Say it.
I don't like dating men with children. I've been
There's nothing wrong with that.
traumatized. I dated a guy who told me he had one, ended up being 6.
Shut your
So
mouth.
literally,
Oh.
I have been like a strong no on baby daddies.
How you go from 1 to 6?
Exactly.
Because he
So
thought
that
if
could
he
be
just,
something I got to work through. But
if you
for the
cool with
most
one, I
part-
could sneak these other 5 in, and you cool with it.
Yeah.
But
wow.
then I have a question though. If let's say you fall in love with him before you find out he got kids, is it still a strong no?
probably a strong no, because why are you lying at this point?
Okay.
Right?
should've told me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Whew,
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
Outside of the other things, like, him being selfish, a jerk, those.
Broken men, broken or broke men.
Oh,
Broken
haven't
or
even,
broke, okay.
Broken or
started their
broke.
healing journey. I think,
That's the
now
broken.
there is no excuse why you
None
haven't,
whatsoever.
going to better help or whatever is available. Now
There
it's
are
all
resources.
virtual. You can
Yeah.
pay for it out of pocket. So that's another big one for me.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm sweating. My wig is sliding back a little bit. So we are going to end this episode. But before we do, I got single ladies on the couch. So I want you to look in that camera right there. Shoot your shot. Let the fellas know what is it that you're looking for.
I don't shoot my shot, but if you would like to connect with me, RachelVHill.com.
They got to go to the website, sis?
Yeah, it's a
Go to the
contact page.
DM me. I'll hook y'all up.
Yeah, or you can do that.
All right. What you got, Alicia?
I'm a firm believer in you're single until you're engaged to be married. And even then, until you've signed the paperwork, you're still legally single. So you can find me all over the Lord's internet at Alicia Reese. Hallelujah, holla back. We'll see what's up.
Shoot your shot, fellas. 2 eligible singles right here. They're well-traveled. They're cultured. They're open.
Yes.
And they are honest as hell.
And your mama gonna like us.
Hello. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Girls Stop Playing. Share this episode with a friend so she can get her edges snatched too. Peace. Girl, hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. This channel is all about encouraging you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified when the next video drops. And comment below and let me know what you want to see on the next video. Peace out.